Continuing this week's look at the remaining Cyber Battalion series toys from the ill-fated Transformers Generation spin-off line, we have Grimlock. Now, if you don't know what a Cyber Battalion toy is, please go check my other videos. I've explained it in so many ways at this point. All you need to know for this video is most of these are designed after Legends and Legion class Transformers. You know, they have a lot of different sculpting, but they are the exact same engineering. Except when it comes to Grimlock. The one exception in the line, he seems to have something all his own in the terms of engineering, which makes him a little bit more interesting than the others. He's cast primarily in a translucent metallic orange. It's been a long week, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's got that kind of bronzish look to it that a lot of the movie Grimlocks had. And this was produced around the time of Age of Extinction, so I assume the mandate was make every T-Rex look like the movie. Which is weird because the toy's molding itself seems to lend itself closer to the G1. Like you can see right now, I've got him in more of the upright T-Rex look, and he seems right at home there. And you do have hip articulation, so you can bend him down and give him that look. But somehow it doesn't quite look as natural in this mode. Like, since you can't move the head up at the neck, you can't really get the correct lines to be standing that way. Somewhere in the middle is about where he's right at home. But for the most part, I think it works either way. So you have an option there, which is not a bad thing. You also have little bits of gray as well as black plastic molded in, whereas the black here and along the feet are paint. So you do have some paint detail going in. Of course, you can see on the belly there with a big Autobot sigil, the black and the silver, all looking good. And all of this up here is also painted up in the same orange color. It's close enough to match the plastic, only a little bit off. And then of course, you get more little bits of silver in the back. That's better for robot mode, really. I like it. It's a big, heavy T-Rex. It's got the nice lines that I like, and it's a heavy machine-style T-Rex. I mean, he does kind of lend itself to the G1 toy with the more squared-off looking head and the big, rounded hips. There's elements of the original G1 in here, you know, just like the other Cyber Battalion figures. So what is up with the fact that he's based on Age of Extinction Grimlock? Well, maybe the answer lies in the robot mode. First off, though, we will go through the articulation. Little shoulders that go up and down. I'm goofy now. We have the hips, as mentioned. The hips can actually go outward as well, if you want to have a little bit more of a natural sense. And unfortunately, not a lot in the knees because they are hard molded to stop you at that point. But hey, at least the hips are there. Also, just a slight bit of gimmick, he has a little switch in the back of his head, so his jaw can actually move up and down. I like that. Head doesn't peg in well enough to really do it on its own, but hey, it's there as an option. Alright, so let's get this guy transformed so we can actually see what's going on. First off, we'll pop the hips out, separate them out to the sides, and then undo the pegs toward the back so we can flip all of this section out. Once that's done, we can open up the legs. The tail is going to tuck into this leg, and you'll notice the fake tail on this side. Now, I have seen a couple Grimlocks that do this. I think the RID Grimlock, the current one, does this as well. But it's the only element I can really find that kind of matches with that Grimlock. This one doesn't bother having like the head backpack thing. His entire torso opens up, head pops in there, and all folds up. Keeps it nice and stowed away. Moving these up, we'll peg that in at the top, fold those to the back, and then the hands are going to flip out like so from the heel spurs of the beast mode, and just like that, our Grimlock is in robot mode. Nice, smooth, and simple transformation. That's what the Cyber series was all about, and hey, it presents a pretty beefy looking Grimlock. You know, nice, smooth transformation, nothing too complex, perfectly designed for a kid to play with. And again, we're going to talk about the fact that this thing is in totally the wrong colors, but we're going to start with the head, which is done up very much like the G1 Grimlock. Like all of the other heads in this line, It is a very stylized head. It's got a lot more sharp details. You could tell it's kind of trying to make it look cool and sleek for the kids, but it still has plenty of element of the G1 in there. Again, I'm going to harp on it for the rest of this review because it really is putting the toy back. Why is it in this freaking bronze color? Now, you can tell the head itself is actually painted. I'll take you just a closer look there. You can see the gray in the back. I don't know if the whole head is molded in gray, but you can definitely see the entire head is painted over like orange was not its intended color. There's almost part of me that assumes that this was molded and sculpted and designed around G1 Grimlock, and then for whatever reason, the colors got changed in the planning stages. You can see more elements of that with the big, heavy, round shoulders from the hips of the beast mode, the claws sticking up from the wrists, as well as the big, heavy feet formed from the tail. So much of this just cries out for G1 colors, and they just aren't there. That said, the color scheme itself doesn't look bad. The bronze and the black work, and the hits of silver break it up just enough. So I'd prefer a little bit more on the arms. They are a little bit barren in this toy, but for the most part, I'm hard-pressed to complain about the actual colors themselves. The toy does still look good, but it is one of those toys that feels like it was designed to have that repaint in mind. Also, something else that's interesting about this is the fact that, yes, the transformation is very unique to it. I don't recall a Grimlock that stuffs its head in the way this one does at any size scale, let alone Legends and Legion class. And it presents an extremely clean beast. Look at this guy. Like, he really doesn't leave a whole lot hanging off of his back. Even the beast mode arms kind of work, kind of making themselves into clavicle bones up here. It's really, really impressive for such a simple and, what was intended to be a $15 toy to have something going on that is actually an interesting transformation. That said, of course, he does have all the hollowing you'd see on these types of toys, because he was meant to be like $15 for his enormous size. I'll go ahead and whip out the Classics Grimlock so you guys can actually see what his size comparison was. Ooh. See, I've already committed myself to using Grimlock, and he's a little bit buried in here, even though he's right next to me. Okay. You see, that's what the Classics Deluxe size was, and he's already huge compared to that. I look somewhere along the lines of, like, a modern Deluxe. Who do I have? No one handy. Huh, that's actually... No, that doesn't work. You know what, never mind. Just take my word for it. He's a lot bigger. He's a lot bigger than what they were asking $15 for back then. And that was the whole idea of the toy line. To go to the articulation, we have a little bit of a turn in the neck. Not as much as I'd like, but hey, you get a little bit. The shoulders themselves, up and down, as well as outward motion. That's really good. Almost universal. Doesn't go out quite far enough, but you do have the double hinge in there, so you can actually get it to go farther if you really need it to. No bicep swivel, but you do get an elbow that reaches 90 degrees, so that's always good. Nothing at the waist, thanks to how that transformation works, and his aforementioned cheapness. Here's the big thing. Thanks to the transformation, universal hips with a bit of a faux ratchet joint, a little bit of detenting in there, and a knee bend. And what a great knee bend it is as well. That gives him the best articulation in this toy line. Yeah, the neck is a little bit limiting, but beyond that, the fact that he has universal hips and knees that actually work puts him a very big cut above the rest. Definitely a very playable figure. That is pretty much all there is to him, though. That is, my friends, Cyber Battalion Grimlock. I am so close to calling him the best in the line, and if we're talking just purely on a sculpt and engineering form, yes. Having a unique transformation is a huge plus. Having that level of articulation is a huge plus in this toy line. It's only dragged down by the color scheme. And if you like the Age of Extinction colors, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with this Grimlock. But it seems like it was so suited to be in G1 colors, and it's such a disappointment that it's not. I would have been happy to have this thing in silver and gold and actually be able to put it along with my classics, where he'd actually stack up to be about the size Grimlock should be amongst the classics shelf. I'm almost tempted to buy another one just so I can get it in those colors. But for what it is, surprisingly good for what it was intended to be, and definitely one of the biggest standouts from the toy line.